There are compliments every man says, and the ones that stay with her for years. Not because they flatter, but because they uncover something. Something she hides. Something she forgot she needed someone to see. The average guy says she's beautiful, smart, amazing. But those words slide off. She's heard them before, dozens of times, from men who barely knew her, from men who wanted something. That's not power. That's noise. But then there's a man who sees past the surface, past the filters, past the performances. And he says something that doesn't just compliment her, it disarms her. It drops her guard, because it tells her, I see the part of you no one else does. If this is hitting different, don't just watch, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss your next breakthrough. The first forbidden compliment isn't about her body, her smile, or even her style. It's about her presence. You say, there's a stillness in you that calms chaos. That line, it stops her cold. Because you've noticed what even her closest friends haven't. The energy she brings into a room without trying. Why does this work? Because most women are constantly performing. For work, for friends, for social media. But few people recognize the peace they hold when they're not performing. When you see that stillness, you tell her she's more than her performance. She's a presence. That's the first crack in the armor. The second forbidden compliment isn't about flattery. It's about reflection. You say, you notice things most people miss. Suddenly, she's not just beautiful. She's perceptive, intuitive, and sharp. That compliment reaches a part of her that feels invisible to most men. And that's what makes it unforgettable. When you say this, you're not complimenting her appearance. You're admiring her awareness. It tells her you've paid attention not just to how she looks, but how she sees. That's rare. That's disruptive. That makes her look at you differently, because you just looked deeper than anyone else. The second forbidden compliment? You carry peace like armor. Calm isn't just something you feel, it's something you give. Most guys notice when a woman is exciting, loud, full of energy, but almost no one stops to honor the quiet ones, the women whose presence softens a room without a word. When you say this, you're naming a power that's invisible but undeniable. And here's what happens when you say it. Her guard drops. Why? Because peace is something she works hard to protect. She's had to silence her own storms, soothe others, hold everything together while no one noticed. When you recognize that quiet grace, that emotional steadiness, you're not just complimenting her presence, you're honoring her strength. And women remember that, because it's not about praising her beauty or charm. It's about revealing a hidden virtue, one she's likely never been thanked for. That's why this hits different. Most men are stuck in surface-level admiration. But you, the man who observes her silence, her calm, her internal poise, you step into a different category. You see her, truly. And that kind of perception, it disarms even the strongest walls. Now, the third forbidden compliment. This one is nuclear. It's the kind of truth she didn't know she craved to hear. You say, you make people around you believe in themselves, even when they doubt it. It's not flattery. It's not game. It's recognition of something most people never notice because they're too focused on themselves. But you saw the ripple she creates just by being present. She might laugh it off, or go quiet, or even change the subject. But internally, she feels it, deep. Because for once, someone didn't just want something from her. You gave her something, acknowledgement, not of her looks or her status, but of her ability to lift others, even when she's carrying weight herself. That's unforgettable. This kind of compliment lingers. It doesn't trigger her defenses, it melts them. Because it speaks to the version of herself she's most proud of, but least recognized for. She's heard she's hot. She's heard she's fun. But when you tell her she creates strength in others, without even trying, She sees you differently. She sees you as rare. And here's the psychological reason it works. People crave significance, not attention, not noise, but that quiet sense that who they are, at their core, matters. When your compliment reflects her deeper values, it bypasses surface-level attraction and touches the part of her that's aching to be seen. Not watched, seen. And that changes everything. Most men never get there. They're too busy trying to impress, to win, to perform. But the man who observes, the man who speaks into a woman's essence instead of her ego, he becomes unforgettable. Not because he tried too hard, but because he saw too deeply. He wasn't louder. He was more precise. He made her feel rare, not just admired. The second forbidden compliment is this. You have a kind of strength that's invisible to most, but undeniable once someone really sees it. This doesn't highlight her status, her job, or her confidence. It speaks to her resilience, the quiet kind, the kind that held her together through what she never talks about. The battles she hides behind a smile. Say this when she's not trying to impress. Say it when she's just being. That's when it lands. That's when it hits her that you see beyond what most men even try to notice. You're not reacting to her beauty. You're responding to her depth. And that scares her, in the best way. Because now she has to decide if she's ready to be seen like that. The third forbidden compliment? It's this. You bring clarity where most bring noise. This isn't about intellect or charm. It's about presence. You're telling her that her energy isn't just felt. It sharpens the room. Her words cut through the chaos. Her stillness quiets the storm. She's never heard that before, not because it isn't true, but because most men are too distracted to notice. But you did. You saw it. And when you name it, it awakens something in her. Not vanity, value, not ego, essence. And here's the paradox. The moment she feels seen beyond her beauty, beyond performance, she lets the mask drop. You didn't praise her for what she shows. You praised her for who she is when no one's looking. That's why these compliments work. They're not tricks. They're truth. Truth most men are too blind or too afraid to speak. But not you. You see it. You say it. And she never forgets it.